Good evening, everyone. My name is Hinisha Malone, and I am the Vice President of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. And we believe that we are the solution to the issues in our community. Our theme is Nothing With Us, Without Us. The West Garfield Park Youth Council is sponsored by Fathers Who Care, which is a nonprofit organization located on the west side of Chicago within the West Garfield Park community. Again, everyone, my name is Hinisha Malone, and I am the Vice President of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. The West Garfield Park Youth Council is comprised of young people from our community whose focus and concern is youth leadership and a voice within our community to reduce senseless violence and illegal substance use. We invite people from all over, especially young people, to come in and see what we are all about. Our shows will be scheduled every Thursday at 7 p.m. Again, that is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Our show can also be viewed online at www.cantv.org/live. Again, that website is www.cantv.org/live. Unfortunately, our last show will be next week for the West Garfield Park Youth Council, and then our Fathers Who Care show will start back up the following week. Well, everyone, I would love to introduce my guest for today. This is Derik Hines, and he is an entrepreneur/mentor. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, thank you so much, Hinisha. By the way, I love the way you just sprouted in there, just like a pro.
Yes, thank you.
WGN 2579.
All those networks. Yep.
Yeah, indeed. But yes, no, my name is Derik Hines, and thank you for having me here. I enjoy just being in the media industry, just because there's so many things you can do. You can take whatever goes on in your mind and allow it to come to life. Mm-hmm. And so, with me, I'm a former teacher, former instructor. Taught at Oak Park River Forest High School. Coached there as well. Coached in the city at Kelly High School, and I also graduated at Lewis University. And majored in radio, TV broadcasting. And then I had the esteemed pleasure to work for Harpo Studios with Miss Oprah Winfrey for over 10 years. Oh,
really?
Yeah.
That's nice. Indeed, Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for being a guest on tonight's show also.
Oh, well, thanks for having me.
Again, everyone, my name is Hinisha Malone, and I am the Vice President of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. You are watching a live interactive call-in television program brought to you by CanTV 21. During the next 25 minutes, we are going to discuss educating, engaging, and empowering our youth. We invite viewers from all over watching to call in with their questions and comments at 312-738-1060. Again, that number is 738-1060. Our phone lines are now open. So today's topic again is educating, engaging, and empowering our youth. And now, Mr. Hines, I have a few questions for you. So tell our audience, who is Derik Hines and what is your purpose for existing? Would you like to go by Derik or Mr. Hines?
You know what? Whatever doesn't offend me. So Derik, okay. Mr. Hines, yet my students would add some nicknames in there too. So, but yeah, Derik is fine.
Okay.
So let's see. What is my purpose? Is that what you're asking?
Yep.
So
who are you? What's your purpose?
Sure. So I am an only child, a person who grew up on the west side of Chicago in the Austin community, right off of Jackson and Laramie, and a person who has a lot of vision, and because I wasn't on the platform to showcase that vision, I would usually showcase it whether I would draw or if I was able to play the game of basketball or soccer or whatnot to kind of bring that vision out. But I had the opportunity to go to school in high school and learn about media and understand some answers to my own questions within the media industry on how did they add this transition to a clip or how did they get someone to walk with no legs, or something of that nature. So my mom actually thought that it would be a solid fit because she understood who I was, and so I decided to take on that challenge to do some filming, to be on the radio, to be on the air, and to do editing. And so I believe that everybody who speaks is a teacher, and I believe that everyone who speaks paints a picture for themselves and for the other person. And it's up to the teacher, it's up to the initial speaker to do the best they can to to get the person to understand at least a little bit about what they do. And so my purpose was driven from being a mentor, being a teacher, and to give back. I think that when I started my company, Stories to Savor, which I started in 2017, right? A little bit after I left Harpo Studios, I looked at working for Miss Winfrey and doing editing for Iyanla Fix My Life, or have had filmed Steve Harvey, and I said a lot of people have a hard time getting to those people.
Getting to those places.
Yeah, and so like what can I do on a scale, on a level where you may not have to pay those 6 figures or 7 figures, but it's conducive to, hey, you know what? I have a small business.
Yeah.
Can you help me out? Or hey, I have a son or daughter that is looking to expand their skills in the media industry.
Yeah.
How can Stories to Savor be that asset? And that's what it was. I had students working with Stories to Savor. I had small businesses that were able to get videos created from us, and the students got a chance to learn in a professional environment too.
Oh, that's amazing. So where did you get these students from? They came from your school that you were teaching at? Or where did the students come from that you had in your working with your business?
Sure, good question. So my students came from me teaching at Oak Park River Forest High School,
right.
and teaching at the Illinois Media School / Illinois Center for Broadcasting.
Oh yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah, and so I looked at the experience that I got versus in school versus the experience that you can get outside of school, and how that can enhance anyone's skill, especially if you have a great teacher.
Exactly.
Because you can know about shooting in 29.95 or 97 or shooting in 24p or 59 frames per second. However, it's when you actually step in the professional environment and you can actually really truly see the difference and how it can elevate your game depending on what frame rate you're shooting. And that's just some of the small intricate details.
So why did you decide to start your own business?
I decided to start my own business because when I left Harpo Studio into a similar realm in media, I saw how there was no mercy. And what do I mean by that? Where we're in broadcast communication, we're in media communication, and the communication is still not expressed clearly so that people can understand it. There are so many people talking in pronouns until where you have to ask more questions and then the frustration arises. Yeah. So when I started Stories to Savor, I wanted to be able to put people in the right position to grow, even in a professional environment, to make mistakes.
Yes.
But most importantly, just elevate their game within media, whether it's being a PA, which is production assistant, all the way up to being a producer or being a number one editor. These are the things that I believed. And on top of that, I saw while I was editing Super Soul Sunday or Iyanla Fix My Life, I wanted to be able to tell those heartfelt stories on a scale to where if students can help out with that, then that's all the greater as well.
Yes, exactly. So what is it that you do exactly as an entrepreneur?
Sure. Well, as an entrepreneur, it actually didn't start off with Stories to Savor. It started off with Granddaddy's Kitchen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I did some catering. So Granddaddy's Kitchen, while I was working at Oak Park River Forest as a special ed teacher assistant, I had these. I said I want to cook. I want to make some homemade lasagna, and I had some coworkers that were showing me like what type of recipes to stem from. And when you're working with special ed students, sometimes they are working at like restaurants or they're working at at hospitals, so you get a chance to see like what they do outside of the classroom. And while I was in one of the restaurants working with one of my students, I said I had the itch to create a fusion restaurant. So Grenadi's Kitchen started for about a year or two, teriyaki ground sirloin lasagna. But I mean, to work as an entrepreneur, Hinisha, it's a thrill. You do have to be ready for the groundwork. You do have to be ready to put those boots on and to get those cuts and bruises and to cry and to yell and not necessarily say I give up, but hey, it'll turn you closer to God quicker than you are, if you weren't, because you're in it right now as an entrepreneur by yourself. But I also knew that if I worked for someone else, there's a ceiling.
Yeah.
And I also knew that if I'm working for myself, that I can also educate people who I work with that there are multiple levels that you can go working with me, and or I can give you the toolages so that if you want to do your own thing, you can do that as well.
Exactly. Because I know when a lot of people work with certain people, they feel like, I don't want to step over their toes, or I don't want to try to learn too much as if I'm trying to be above them. Because like sometimes when people are bosses or entrepreneurs, when they have people working with them, they keep them at like arm's length. Like, okay, you stay in your place, I'm gonna be over here, I'm gonna be the boss. But it's like with you, like you're saying, you like letting them know like this is possible, what I'm doing is possible. And like I feel like people sometimes they feel like, I don't want to have to do the heartache. I don't want to go through the pain. I don't want to go through the failures and all that stuff. I feel like they scared of failure. And when you fear failure, I feel like in all you fear life, because we won't get everything right the first time, because we have to go through these stages in life where it's like, okay, I tried that, it didn't work, that's fine, I learned from it. Because you can't learn if you don't make mistakes, because everything doesn't come easy. So when you make mistakes, you learn from them and you know what to do the next time. So I feel like people get too comfortable in thinking like everything's supposed to come easy, so they'll just go and work for somebody and be like, okay, I'm gonna just work for them. What they say is easier than me trying to do something myself. But you letting them know like it's other options out there. Like being an entrepreneur is obtainable. You can be your own boss, because like you said, it's a ceiling with other people. Like you can't go too far ahead of them, because like, okay, they the boss, I don't want to go too far, and that like it stunts your growth a little bit. But you actually promoting the growth of the people that's working with you.
Yeah, you know what and as you talk about that, it takes me back to when I first had my internship. I was the only intern in my class in college, and I won't even say in the whole media realm, to do an internship and get paid. And it was at the time the #1 post house in Chicago, and I was the first African American intern to integrate into that post house.
Okay.
And I tell you, Hinisha, I did not get a chance to touch a camera. I did not get a chance the whole time. I did not get a chance to. I might have touched one of the editing systems one time, but it was primarily go grab some food, drop off the pastries in the edit suites, and I mean I had to hound folks like, hey, listen, I'm an editor, can you show me? And it was pulling teeth because no one would really show me. And I had this one lady, white lady, and she told me, she says, Derik, you're black. And I'm like, okay, all right. Kind of got that little caramel skin here. But she said, you're going to have to work 2 times as hard in this industry to make it. And just as a young 20-year-old, you're just thinking like, okay, while I'm still growing and in my development, I was just wondering like, okay. So I just say that it's a beauty to be able to press through. And I'll tell you this too. People keep you at arm's length because they are inferior and they're intimidated. And so, but it's up to you to figure out what to do.
Exactly. I feel like a lot of when entrepreneurs see people that they work with, I feel like they see a lot of potential in the people that they work with, and they think like if they if they know too much, or if I teach them too much, they could be where I am and they could take my place potentially, or go out and like create another business in favor to the one that I have. So I feel like they try to not show them as much or not teach them as much because they're like in fear of the potential that they have and like what they can grow and be. But I don't feel like you see that like with the people that you work with. You were like, I'm going to show you what you can do, because if we have more people that are entrepreneurs, I feel like we have more people that's actually bringing like these bright and these new ideas to the world, to show the world like more stuff that we need. Because if we just keep these old ideas and these old businesses, it's like it's nothing new and it's nothing fresh that's coming out here. So it's like if you teaching them that you a new business, and as you coming up, you learn the mistakes and you learning the ropes, and then you can have people coming in, you're like, okay, yeah, this is what you can do. You can go out and you can do this also. So I feel like that's amazing.
Absolutely.
So what is the hardest part about being an entrepreneur?
The hardest part about being an entrepreneur is the carousel, or the consistency in searching for clients. I don't have a sales team, so a lot of time it's me. And then if the project is big enough, then I have to hire other editors and other shooters to divvy up some of the work that's going on. So that's one of the hardest parts. And then on top of that, it's just, you have to motivate your own self too.
Yeah.
And when you have a family and you're doing it full time, I mean, my little ones also do help with it being hard, to where it's like, hey, I'm doing it for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. So what advice would you give someone just starting their own business?
So some of the advice that I would give for starting their own business is to see who your competitors are, and really ask yourself, is the business that I'm doing something that I enjoy to do? And could I do it without being paid?
Yeah.
Because that's where the passion is, and that's where the drive is, and that's where the determination is. You have a lot of successful basketball players or baseball players or football players that would play the game because they enjoy doing it.
Exactly.
And here's the deal. That transitions to, with, if you love it and you have joy, then there's no stopping you. That goes with entrepreneurship. That goes with relationship with whoever you're dating or whoever you're married. It goes with relationship with your family. I mean, it goes across the board. Love has a very strong and rich piece of fuel to allow you to do things without having to worry about anything negative.
Exactly. And what you said with not having to get paid for doing something, I feel like when a lot of people feel like, okay, I'm going to go into this job because it pays the most money, I feel like that's where people get like lost in like passion and then money, because I feel like money is the root of too many things, and I feel like we need money to live, but I feel like that fuels a lot of people's like reasoning for going into certain places, and then when they get to those places, they aren't happy. And it's like, okay, you making money, but then you're not at peace with yourself or with the things that you're doing with your everyday life. So I feel like we do have to like have a balance of like, okay, money is good, but it's like my peace and my happiness is good too. So I feel like people need to also prioritize like self-love and mental health before they get into like, okay, I'm just going to work and try to get this job because it got money, even though I don't like it, but I'm going to do it. So I feel like they have to get in tune with themselves and know like what's worth it and what's not before they try to go out and find something to do, because I feel like they'll get lost in like passion and then like finding themselves and knowing what's right for them, and like they'll like put what's good for them on the back burner to get money. So I feel like I understand that also.
Yeah, very well said. Yeah.
So what do you feel is hindering our young people?
As I think about that, I think that what hinders young people, at least one thing, is showing them that you have to do certain things, like you have to do things, versus, I'll give you an example, is what hinders like young people from wanting to take out the garbage, right?
Okay.
So who wants to take out the garbage? Like, who has the drive to take out the garbage? Not many people, right? Yep. So, but if you are, so like my 6-year-old, I don't really ask him to take out the garbage, But I will purposely have the garbage and I'll walk past him while I'm taking the garbage out. And then he goes, "Hey, Dad, can I help you take out the garbage?" And it's just like, absolutely you can. And then you build that repetition up over and over and over again. And then so then the hindrance of me asking doesn't become a hindrance anymore, because you now see the example. And so what hinders young people is the example, and just allowing young people to do under control, right? But to experience, hey, I'm not here to just tell you don't put your finger on the hot stove, even though you see the steam is going on. But if you do have to feel it for yourself, to give yourself a reminder that, hey, it's hot, I don't want to do it anymore, then touch it. But I mean, but I do know that a lot of young people really want to be in the entertainment industry. They want to be sports. They want to be athletes. Some people want to be a doctor. But in your heart of all hearts, in the deepness of your soul, God has given you a purpose already laid out. And how do you get to that purpose and understand that purpose is taking quiet time daily. 5 minutes, 30 maybe not 30 seconds, but 5, 10, a half hour of just figuring out who you are. And once you figure that out, it will work. There'll be some struggle, but it'll work. So I believe we do need more mentors out there to really help young people look at life in a different perspective and saying, hey, your seed has already been planted. How are you watering it? How are you throwing the fertilizer on it? How are you trimming it?
I agree with that. And I feel like with young people, I feel like it's too much do this, so they feel like it's a chore, like what you said. Like, you don't tell him take out the garbage, but you walk by him and he see it, and he's like, okay, let me help you. And as it goes on, he's like, okay, this is something that I know that I have to do, not because nobody is hounding me over me, telling me to do it. So then you just feel this resentment towards it, because you feel like it's so much of a chore, I have to do this, I have to do this. But once you see somebody else doing it, and it gets to a point where okay, I can do that too. I can help out. I can do that on my own because I'm saying it. So it's with young people, I feel like they don't have to feel like, they don't like to feel like they being hounded and being told do this. But when you lead by example, when you show them okay, this is stuff that needs to be done, you see that it needs to be done. But if it goes to a point where it feel like they get comfortable and just not doing anything because everybody else do it, then that's when you be like, okay, this is stuff that we have to do. We have to take out the garbage because it can't fill up the house, and you just learn. Then that's when you learn morals and values, what should and shouldn't be done. So I feel like that's a good way to start off, instead of being take out the garbage, because then they start feeling like they being hounded on.
Love it.
So last question: what are activities that young people can be involved in to educate and empower them?
Activities. So some activities that young people can be involved in to empower them is, well, first we have to start off with young people figuring out what their why is, right? And even if it's a small fraction of that, and then once you figure out the why, then there can be small groups to where other young people can talk to young people about the why and where it came from. I think that so many times we go through life just trying to pound the pavement on the upper echelon type jobs and whatnot, but it's about just breaking it down into the simplistic atom.
Exactly. Breaking it down so it's they could see where it came from, why, where it came from and stuff like that. So it's not just oh yeah, I'm doing this, but it's why are you doing it? Where did it stem from? What did you see, or what did someone else do to lead by example to make you feel like you wanted to do that? So I see where you come from with that.
Indeed.
So if anyone was watching and wanted to get in contact with you to get more information about becoming an entrepreneur, how could they contact you?
Well, Miss Hinisha, please, by all means, do I look at you or do I look at the camera?
Look at the camera.
Go ahead. All right, guys. Well, hey, again, my name is Derik Hines, and if you are looking to get in touch with me, you can check us out at www.storiestosavor.com. That's STORIESTOSAVOR.com. Or you can feel free to email me at Derik, DERIK, at storiesofsavor.com.
Thank you. So if you are just tuning in, our guest tonight on the show is Derik Hines, entrepreneur and mentor, and we were discussing educating, engaging, and empowering our youth. We would love to thank our viewers for watching. For additional information about our youth council, please contact us at 773-287-5821. Again, the number is 773-287-5821, and ask for Miss Princess. Thank you, and tune in next week, same time, same station. Bye.